Imagine standing in an open field. No weapons, no armor, no backup plan. In front of you stands a woolly mammoth. It weighs 10 tons. It's taller than your house, and it's looking right at you. Most people would run, but ancient humans didn't run. They walked straight toward it, and somehow, they won. How? That's exactly what we're going to find out today. Because here's the thing. Ancient humans were small. They were weak compared to most animals. They had no claws, no venom, no thick skin. By every rule of nature, they should have lost every single time. But they didn't. In fact, they hunted some of the largest creatures that ever walked the earth. And the way they did it will completely change how you think about early humans. Let's start from the beginning. Around 300,000 years ago, ancient humans were not at the top of the food chain. They were somewhere in the middle. They scavenged, they hid. They survived mostly on plants and small animals. Hunting a mammoth wasn't even a thought. It was a death sentence. But then something changed, slowly, quietly, and it changed everything. But here's where it gets strange. The first real weapon ancient humans used wasn't a spear. It wasn't a bow. It wasn't even a sharp rock. It was their voice. Early humans started communicating in ways other animals couldn't. They could plan ahead. They could share information. They could assign roles. This made them the first animal on Earth to hunt as a true coordinated team. That single ability made them more dangerous than any claw or fang could ever be. Think about a pride of lions. They hunt together, but they react in the moment. They follow instinct. Ancient humans did something different. They met the night before. They studied the animal's patterns. They chose the location. They assigned jobs. Some would chase. Some would flank. Some would wait. It was strategy, real strategy. And the animals they hunted had no way to defend against it. Now here's the first fact most people don't know. Ancient humans didn't always try to kill large animals quickly. Sometimes they chased them for hours, or even days. This is called persistence hunting. And humans were uniquely built for it. Most large animals, horses, deer, mammoths, they sprint fast but overheat quickly. Humans sweat. Other animals don't cool down the same way. So ancient hunters would follow an animal under the hot sun, not running at full speed, just jogging, consistently, relentlessly, until the animal collapsed from exhaustion. Then they moved in. No fight needed, no risk, just patience. And then something unexpected happened. Around 400,000 years ago, researchers found something remarkable, a collection of wooden spears in Germany. They were long, balanced, and sharpened at the tip. They weren't meant for stabbing up close. They were designed for throwing. This discovery pushed back the timeline of human hunting technology by hundreds of thousands of years. Ancient humans had long-range weapons far earlier than anyone believed, and this changed the entire equation. Now they could attack from a distance. The large animal couldn't even reach them before taking a hit. But the spear alone wasn't enough for the biggest animals, so they got smarter, much smarter. Here's the second surprising fact. Ancient humans used the landscape as a weapon. They studied the land around them like a map. They found cliffs, they found bogs, they found narrow canyon passes, and then they used fire and noise to drive massive animals toward those spots. A group of hunters would spread out wide, sometimes stretching across miles, and slowly close in, shouting, banging rocks, waving burning branches. The animal would panic and run, straight toward the trap, straight toward the edge. The hunters never needed to face the animal directly. The earth did the work for them. This technique has a name today. It's called a game drive, and evidence of it has been found on nearly every continent, from North America to Europe to Africa. Ancient humans were doing this tens of thousands of years ago. Coordinated, planned, effective. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Ancient humans didn't just hunt for food. They studied their prey. They learned which animals traveled alone, which ones had weak legs, which ones moved slower during certain seasons. They tracked footprints. They read broken branches. They smelled the wind. Hunting wasn't just physical. It was deeply intellectual. A single hunt could require days of preparation and reading the environment like a book. And here's the third fact that most people completely miss. Ancient humans may have used psychology against animals. Researchers believe that some hunters wore animal skins or masks during hunts, not for warmth, but for deception, to look less like a threat, to get closer, to blend in with a herd. If true, this means ancient humans were performing one of the earliest known acts of deliberate deception in human history. They were outsmarting animals that outweighed them by thousands of pounds. Not with strength, with their minds. And it worked, over and over again. By around 40,000 years ago, ancient humans had hunted many massive species to extinction. Woolly mammoths, giant ground sloths, cave lions, massive bears. Not because they were lucky, but because they were relentless, creative, and impossibly coordinated for their time. They were small. They were fragile, but they thought in ways nothing else on Earth could match. So the next time you hear the word primitive used to describe ancient humans, remember this. These were people who looked at a 10-ton animal and didn't see a predator. They saw a problem to solve, and they solved it every single time. Which leaves one question worth thinking about. If ancient humans were this intelligent this early, what else were they capable of that we still haven't discovered?